Coming home to find your sister-in-law has moved into your house without permission is surreal. Watching police escort her out in handcuffs while she screams about family loyalty, that's satisfying. I'm Nina Morgan, 34 years old. 3 weeks ago, I came home from a work trip to find my husband's sister, Rebecca, 37, unemployed, entitled, had moved into our guest room. Her car is in our driveway. Her belongings are in our closets. Her attitude in our kitchen. Family helps family, Nina. You have space. I needed it. Deal with it. My husband, Marcus, stood there, silent, uncomfortable, unwilling to tell his sister no. I said, "Rebecca, you can't just move in without asking." She said, "I'm not asking. I'm family. This is what family does, unless you're the kind of wife who turns her back on her husband's sister." Emotional manipulation, designed to make me the villain if I said no. So I didn't say no. I said, "Okay, stay tonight. We'll discuss this tomorrow." Then I called a real estate lawyer, filed formal trespass paperwork, documented everything, and 48 hours later, she was removed by sheriff's deputies while she screamed that I was destroying the family. This is the story of how legal boundaries saved my marriage and my home. Before I tell you what the sheriff said when he read her the eviction notice, before you hear what my husband said when he realized what I'd done, hit like now. Comment on your city. This is about protecting your home when family becomes trespasser. 3 weeks ago, I left for a business conference. 5 days. Denver. Marketing seminar. Standard work trip. I kissed Marcus goodbye. "I'll call when I land. Love you." He said, "Love you too. Safe travels." Normal. Everything normal. Day 3 of my trip, Marcus called. Weird tone. Nervous. "Hey, so something came up. Rebecca lost her apartment. The landlord evicted her. She needed a place to stay temporarily." I said, "Okay. Did you help her find a hotel?" Silence. "Marcus?" She's at our house, just for a few days, until she figures things out." I felt my stomach drop. "You let her move in without asking me?" "It's temporary. She's family. She had nowhere else." "We have a guest room for guests, for people we invite, not for people who just show up." "Nina, she's my sister. What was I supposed to do? Let her be homeless?" "You were supposed to call me, ask me. Do not make unilateral decisions about our home." He said, "It's my house, too." I said, "It's our house, joint ownership, and you don't get to move people in without discussing it." He got defensive. "It's a few days. You're making this a bigger deal." I said, "I'm coming home early." "Nina, that's not necessary." I hung up, changed my flight, came home that night, 2 days early. Walked into my house. Rebecca's car is in the driveway. Her shoes are by the door. Her coat is on my hook. Went upstairs. The guest room is full of her stuff. Clothes, boxes, furniture she'd brought. Not temporary belongings. Moving in belongings. Found her in the kitchen, making coffee. Comfortable, like she owned the place. "Oh, Nina, you're back early. I thought you were gone until Friday." I said, "I came back early. We need to talk." She said, "About what?" "About you moving into our house without permission." She laughed. "Permission? Nina, I'm family. Family doesn't need permission. Marcus understands that. Maybe you don't because you don't have close siblings, but this is what family does." I said, This is what family does after asking, after discussing, not by just showing up and moving in. She said, I didn't just show up. Marcus invited me. His house, his decision. Our house, joint ownership, and he made the decision without me. She shrugged. Well, I'm here now, and I'm staying until I find a new place. Could be a few weeks, could be months. Apartment hunting is hard. You have space. You can spare a room. I said, you can't just decide. She said, I already did, unless you want to be the kind of wife who kicks out her homeless sister-in-law. That'll go over great with the family. She walked away to the guest room, closed the door. In my house. I found Marcus in the living room, watching TV, avoiding eye contact. Marcus, your sister just told me she's staying weeks or months without asking in our house. He said, she's going through a hard time. So she gets to move in without discussion? Nina, she's family. I couldn't say no. You could have called me. Asked me, made it a joint decision like every other major decision about our home. He said, it's not major, it's temporary. That's 5 minutes, Marcus. That's not temporary. He said, what do you want me to do? Kick her out? Tell her she can't stay? Yes, that's exactly what I want. He looked at me like I'd suggested murder. I can't do that. She's my sister. The family will never forgive me. I realized Marcus would not fix this. He'd chosen his sister over me, over our marriage, over our home. Fine. I'd fix it myself. The next morning, I called a real estate attorney, Laura Stevens, specialized in property law, trespass, evictions. Laura, my sister-in-law, Rebecca Morgan, moved into our house without my permission. My husband allowed it without consulting me. I'm a joint owner of the property. What are my legal options? She said, do you want her removed? Yes. Has she been there more than 30 days? No, 3 days. Good. She's not a tenant yet. She's a guest who's overstayed. You can pursue trespass. Since you're the joint owner and she doesn't have your consent, she's unlawfully on your property. I said, what if my husband gave her permission? Did he have authority to give that permission alone? We're joint owners. No agreement says either of us can unilaterally invite long-term guests. Then his permission is insufficient. You both need consent. Since you don't, she's trespassing. I said, walk me through the process. Laura explained. Formal notice, demand to vacate. If she refuses, file with the sheriff, get a court order, have her removed. How long? If she refuses to leave voluntarily, 48 to 72 hours for the court order, then immediate removal. Let's do it. That afternoon, Laura drafted a formal notice. Notice to vacate. Rebecca Morgan, you are hereby notified that you are unlawfully occupying the property at address. As the joint owner of this property, Nina Morgan has not consented to your presence. You are required to vacate within 24 hours or face legal removal. I had it delivered. Certified mail, hand-delivered by process server, official, legal, undeniable. Rebecca read it, laughed. This is ridiculous. Nina, you can't legally evict me. Marcus invited me. I have his permission. I am a joint owner. You need both our permissions. You don't have mine. Leave within 24 hours or I'll pursue legal removal. She said, you're bluffing. You wouldn't actually call the cops on family. I said, try me. She didn't leave. 24 hours passed. She stayed. Comfortable, confident I wouldn't follow through. I filed with the court. Laura submitted the trespass complaint, joint ownership documents, my written refusal of consent, Rebecca's refusal to vacate. The judge reviewed it, issued an order. Rebecca Morgan is trespassing on private property without full owner consent. Sheriff authorized to remove her and her belongings immediately. 48 hours after my notice, sheriff's deputies arrived. 2 of them, at 10 a.m., knocked on the door. Rebecca answered, "Can I help you?" Deputy Martinez said, "Rebecca Morgan?" "Yes." "We have a court order for your removal from this property. You're trespassing. You need to gather your essential belongings and vacate immediately." Her face went white. "What? No, this is my brother's house. I have permission." "Ma'am, the court order states you're trespassing. You have 30 minutes to gather essentials. Anything you can't take now will be stored and available for pickup later." She looked at me. "Nina, you actually called the cops on family?" I said, "You refused to leave. I used legal channels. This is the consequence." She looked at Marcus. "Marcus, tell them. Tell them I can stay." Marcus looked broken, torn. "Rebecca, maybe you should go. Find somewhere else. This has gotten out of hand." She screamed, "Out of hand? Your wife is having me arrested." Deputy Martinez said, "Ma'am, you're not under arrest. You're being removed for trespassing. If you refuse to comply, then you'll be arrested." She grabbed her phone, called her mother. "Mom, Nina's having me thrown out by the police. She's destroying this family." The deputy said, "Ma'am, you have 28 minutes now. I suggest you start packing." She packed, crying, screaming, calling me every name. "You're heartless, you're cruel, you're destroying this family over a room." I said,